In 2015, a human dynamo exploded onto the NXT scene. This charismatic enigma wasn't known by all, but for those aware, she carried with her the legacy of Kana, who was already widely regarded as one of the top Joshi prospects. Donning a new identity as Asuka, no one in NXT was ready for the Empress of Tomorrow. She begins her journey at NXT TakeOver Respect, where Dana Brooke is the first to discover just how dangerous Asuka truly is. Even with the assistance of Emma, Dana finds herself outclassed before succumbing to the Asuka lock. The sore loser tempts fate and, well, finds out. Emma, unwilling to suffer something similar, knows she has to sit this one out. Asuka begins to tear through the NXT women's roster, but she has unfinished business, with Emma, who is finally willing to step up on behalf of Dana Brooke. The attempt to exact a measure of revenge culminates at NXT TakeOver London, where Emma rises to the occasion by giving Asuka her first real challenge. Asuka does win, but to Emma's credit, the Japanese sensation had to work for this one. Fresh off yet another win, Asuka participates in a battle royal to earn herself the #1 contendership for the NXT Women's Championship. Eva Marie, of all people, eliminates her, but not having been pinned or submitted yet, Asuka remains undefeated at least. As for the winner of the Battle Royal, Carmella battles Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship. Bayley remains the champion, but the terrible twosome of Eva Marie and Nia Jax put the kibosh on post-match niceties. One person is willing to oppose the mugging. Unwilling to do anything to Asuka head-on, Jax and Eva Marie decide that they should run away and live to fight another day. This isn't a purely altruistic act on Asuka's part. Bayley's holding something she desires, and she lets Bayley know it. Asuka continues her winning ways while Eva Marie and Nia Jax attempt to run roughshod over the women's division. William Regal thinks these forces should come to a head, and it's made official they will face the team of Bayley and Asuka. They make quick work of their opponents by targeting Eva Marie. William Regal comes out and names Asuka as the new #1 contender for Bayley's title, and that match will happen at NXT TakeOver Dallas. Before that, the woman who gave Asuka the most problems stands on the road toward her title match. It's not too different this time either. Emma poses a great challenge to the new #1 contender before becoming another victim of the Asuka lock. With the pathway now clear, the Empress of Tomorrow is free to pursue her ambitions unhindered. However, Bayley's no pushover, and as Asuka quickly finds out, she's the NXT Women's Champion for a reason. Bayley puts her best foot forward, but in the end, not even she is safe from the Asuka lock. A shocked crowd in Dallas witnesses history. A new champion arises, and she's about to have the title reign of a lifetime. Bayley isn't ready to step aside just yet. She says she will regain the NXT Women's Championship. As for the new champion, Asuka ties up some loose ends in putting Eva Marie in her place. However, the monstrous Nia Jax lets the champion know that she hasn't seen the last of her. Jax makes this apparent to everyone by not just merely defeating Bayley, but injuring her too. To make it official, Nia Jax wins a triple threat match involving Carmella and Alexa Bliss. The stage is set for Asuka to meet what is literally her biggest challenge in NXT yet. Asuka gets a small taste of what her challenger has in store when things become physical during a contract signing. At NXT TakeOver The End, Nia comes for Asuka's championship like a bull in a china shop, throwing her about like nothing. This isn't unexpected, and it becomes a game of durability with Asuka absorbing punishment and unleashing an onslaught of strikes to overwhelm the Colossus. With such an obstacle successfully overcome, it doesn't look like any woman in NXT can defeat the champion. Well, the former champion has a little something to say about that. By dealing some payback and defeating Nia Jax, Bayley sets her course directly toward Asuka and the NXT Women's Championship. In the spirit of scouting and preparing, Bayley joins commentary to watch a match between Asuka and Aaliyah. Bayley is offered a ringside seat by the champion, but the closer view only serves to disturb her. After toying with her prey, Asuka refuses to let go of the Asuka lock. A concerned Bayley comforts Aaliyah. Asuka appears more aggressive than ever. Likewise, Bayley is determined to be the one to finally defeat Asuka to recapture the title. At NXT TakeOver Brooklyn II, it's Asuka versus Bayley 2. As dangerous and bellicose as Asuka is, Bayley matches her intensity without hesitation. The challenger is pugnacious enough to survive to the point of nailing the Bayley to belly. To everyone's surprise, Asuka kicks out. By the same token, Bayley successfully resists the Asuka lock. A kick to the skull ends this though. So many had thought Bayley could climb atop the mountain once more. Still, for her effort, she exits with applause and "Thank you, Bayley" chants. With Asuka laying waste to all those who think they're ready, William Regal is forced to look outside of the NXT bubble for a worthy challenger. With that, Regal names Mickie James as the next in line to face the Empress of Tomorrow. Fans give Mickie a warm welcome back at NXT TakeOver Toronto. Mickie keeps up enough to garner "You've still got a chance." She even cuts Asuka off from her PO'd state. It's Asuka's version of hulking up. Despite the veteran's good showing, she, like so many before her, isn't able to survive the Asuka lock. Mickie James offers a gesture of respect. Asuka actually blows her off. After running through Nicole Matthews, Asuka returns to her homeland to once again do battle with Nia Jax. Like before, Nia brushes off Asuka's blows and powers through. The champ wears her down and puts her away like last time. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce assault Asuka in the parking lot upon her arrival to work. Not one to take such a thing lying down, she pursues action against the two in the arena. Nikki Cross spares the champ a 2-on-1 beatdown only to tie into her herself. Wanting revenge, Asuka demands of Regal a match against everyone. Regal is willing to give Asuka what she wants, but first, he arranges for the women to meet in the ring. Well, of course they go at each other. Security try to stifle the fighting, but Crazy Cross takes them out too, while Billie Kay and Peyton Royce watch on. At NXT TakeOver San Antonio, the women compete in a four-way for the NXT Women's Championship. Royce and Kay remain in sync, while Nikki Cross and Asuka battle wildly. The Aussies neutralize Cross and target Asuka 2-on-1. Even with their efforts combined, Asuka manages to escape with her title. There is another out there wanting a piece of Asuka, however, her time isn't right now. In a number one contenders three-way, Ember Moon is denied her opportunity as Peyton Royce walks away victorious after pinning Liv Morgan. Peyton doesn't take the opportunity for granted. She manages to give Asuka a slight challenge. Still, she's just not close to the champion's level. Billie Kay and Peyton double-team Asuka after the match, targeting her shoulder. Someone does come to the champion's aid. It's none other than Ember Moon, and Asuka knows exactly what she's after. Ember Moon demonstrates just how dangerous her Eclipse finisher is when she leaves Billie Kay motionless in the center of the ring. Perhaps this is the move that will finally end Asuka's streak. The champion sends a message to Ember by destroying a jobber who you may know as AEW's Diamante. During the contract signing, Ember tells Asuka not only is she ready, she's been ready for a long time. Well, there's only one way to find out. At NXT TakeOver Orlando, it looks as though Ember Moon is the one. She can succeed where every other woman has failed. Except Asuka avoids the Eclipse in a somewhat unethical manner. Asuka follows up with a kick to the head. To the surprise of many, she's still the champion. Even though things didn't go her way, Ember Moon still believes she will end Asuka's streak. As for the rest of the women, the feeling is mutual. Noting that Asuka has grown cocky, they think it's only a matter of time before one of them finish her. Everyone wants a piece, so William Regal informs Asuka that her next challenger will be decided in a battle royal. Asuka's like, whatever dude, I'll kick their skull in. The battle royal comes down to the final three of Ember Moon, Ruby Riott, and Nikki Cross. Asuka says none of them are ready, so she takes them all out. A frustrated William Regal declares all three women the number one contender. Asuka's got another fatal four-way to contend with. One problem, Asuka's attack on Ember Moon left her would-be challenger with a shoulder injury. She won't be involved. Still, Nikki and Ruby are okay enough to challenge for the title. Whether a three-way or a four-way, Asuka seems disinterested in all of this. It even seems she's grown tired of her fans. Maybe she's just too good to care anymore. Asuka can prove just how good she is at NXT TakeOver Chicago. A wrestler the caliber of Ruby Riott and an unhinged wildcard in Nikki Cross should be a major test, and sure it is. Regardless, Asuka manages to pin both challengers. This chapter isn't yet closed. Asuka will defend against both Nikki and Riott again. This time it's an elimination match. The first competitor to eat a pin is Ruby Riott. This professional wrestling match then devolves into lawless brawling, forcing the referee to throw it out. From the backstage area back in front of all the fans, the violence only comes to an end when neither woman can move. The rabid Nikki Cross will have to be put down, and a last woman standing match with Asuka will be the lethal injection required. The action is wild, it's intense. Someone might even say this qualifies as a slobber knocker. Nigel McGuinness says if Asuka's sending Nikki to hell, she's dragging the champ along for the trip, or at least Nikki tries. Asuka once again stands tall when all is said and done. Meanwhile, Ember Moon, busy stacking up wins, is done waiting. She's coming for the NXT Women's Championship. When she confronts Asuka, the disrespect is deafening. After tying into Asuka, Ember finally gets to introduce her to the devastating Eclipse finisher. The contract signing goes down, and Ember congratulates Asuka on her winning streak surpassing even that of Bill Goldberg. However, Ember points out she's the only one Asuka's had to take a shortcut to beat. Ember's correct in that. At NXT TakeOver Brooklyn III, Ember doesn't just match Asuka's pace, this time her aggression is extraordinary. The champ answers with much hostility as she gives this match everything in her tank to remain the champion, to remain undefeated, even if it means destroying the shoulder of Ember that Asuka previously injured. Ember, despite becoming physically compromised, battles through the pain. The challenger even hits the Eclipse, but Asuka does not allow that to end this. Asuka becomes desperate and tries to steal a win by holding Ember's trunks. The champion wisely plays possum to draw Ember Moon right into her clutches. The strategy works. Ember must tap to the Asuka lock. At over 500 days in, Asuka is still the NXT Women's Champion. And with that, Asuka's title reign comes to an end. Not through defeat, but victory instead. The Empress of Tomorrow's time in NXT comes to a close, and she's heading to a bigger stage with her undefeated streak still intact. Fans, wrestlers, William Regal, and even Triple H himself acknowledge what an amazing run Asuka had. A true record breaker. But now, new challenges await Asuka, along with some familiar faces. History repeats itself at TLC 2017. Emma faces her old foe as Asuka makes her main roster debut, demonstrating her dominance in front of many fans who may have heard of her but haven't yet seen her in action. Emma poses a challenge like in the past, but a familiar submission hold defeats her once more. On the following Raw, Emma wants more of the same. Well, she gets more of the same. There you go. Asuka shows the uninitiated just how good she is. Good enough that Alicia Fox wants Asuka on Team Raw for Survivor Series. As part of Team Raw, Asuka has no qualms about participating in locker room warfare. It's the team of Nia Jax, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Alicia Fox, and Asuka versus Naomi, Tamina, Natalya, Carmella, and Becky Lynch at the 2017 Survivor Series. With Team SmackDown losing their captain early, things don't look wonderful for them. Bayley's elimination evens the odds, and Nia Jax being eliminated by countout is a huge loss for Raw. Naomi gets rid of Fox, Sasha immediately returns the favor via tap out. Asuka takes Carmella out with a kick, Natalya submits Sasha Banks. Only Asuka remains for Raw now. She has an uphill battle against Natalya and Tamina. It's a hill Asuka capably climbs, getting rid of both obstacles. Asuka is the sole survivor for Monday Night Raw. Asuka's next victim is the woman who she debuted against in NXT. Dana Brooke disrespected the Empress leading into Survivor Series, and actions have consequences. Dana Brooke finds herself in way over her head. Asuka figuratively eviscerates her. Poor Dana, the stubborn fool. She wants another go around. Well, okay. For her trouble, she taps out in 4 seconds. Asuka continues to keep her streak untarnished, running through the Raw Women's roster. That includes the Raw Women's Champion, albeit in a non-title match. The first ever Women's Royal Rumble match is coming up, and after Alexa Bliss plants seeds in the head of Nia Jax, she takes it upon herself to do something about the biggest threat in the women's division. This, of course, leads to a match between Asuka and Jax, but before there's a clear winner, the referee stops the match due to Jax being physically unable to continue. The next week in 8-woman tag action, Nia Jax guns directly toward Asuka. Things aren't over between these two. Sasha Banks picks up the W for her team. Asuka proceeds to throw her own teammates over the top rope, sending a message for what's to come at the Royal Rumble. And here we go. At the 2018 Royal Rumble, as the 25th entrant, the Empress of Tomorrow arrives to claim her destiny. An old rivalry is touched upon. Ember leaves her mark by nailing the Eclipse, but this isn't her night. The action continues until there are 4, and Asuka becomes the target of the Bella Twins and Sasha Banks. They work as a unit until the opportunity to do otherwise presents itself. The sisters end up testing Asuka, but when this is every woman for herself, you can't even trust your own blood. Nikki isn't willing to share the glory. Nikki manages to be problematic, not to the extent that Asuka can't handle her. This is her Rumble to win. This is her first step on the road to WrestleMania. This road will not be an easy one traveled, considering the caliber of challengers itching to end the streak. This begins with Sasha Banks, someone Asuka's never faced. To say Sasha doesn't make it easy for the Royal Rumble winner is an understatement, as this becomes a high-octane war. Sasha comes dangerously close to forcing Asuka to tap, but she is the one who must give it up in the end. Next in line is Bayley. Asuka, having ended her title reign in NXT, gives Bayley a bit of extra fire to return the favor in being the first to beat her. Obviously, that isn't the case. Bayley taps out. Asuka continues to build momentum. There's someone else building momentum. At Elimination Chamber, Nia Jax has some business to settle with Asuka. Anyone in her way leading up to that point finds themselves in big trouble, and that includes Asuka herself. Sending a message for their upcoming encounter, Asuka is left in shambles. We arrive at Elimination Chamber. Nia is every bit as threatening as she's shown to be in the past. Perhaps even more so because Asuka can't put her away like in NXT. With that said, Asuka manages to sneak in a victory. That kind of win barely phases Nia Jax. She unleashes hell afterward. Asuka has to be assisted backstage. Even after Elimination Chamber, Asuka still has Nia Jax on her back. She just isn't going to lay off. In yet another match with Jax, Asuka does what she's never been able to do before, make Nia Jax tap out. Despite a domineering performance, Jax leaves with only one good arm. As far as WrestleMania is concerned, after Charlotte successfully defends her title at Fastlane, the undefeated one appears. She makes her choice as to whom she's challenging. It's going to be the Empress versus the Queen. Asuka's biggest match in WWE is right around the corner. She's heading into the final stretch. On Raw, it turns out Nia Jax is no longer interested in being a pawn of Alexa Bliss. Mickie James is willing to replace Jax and become Asuka's next challenger. A mistake by Asuka gives Mickie a weakness to mercilessly exploit, but the Empress isn't going to lose at this late stage. She's going to WrestleMania undefeated. Even though Bliss no longer has to concern herself with Asuka at WrestleMania, a rematch has been brewing ever since Asuka defeated her in a non-title outing. Alexa, not willing to take a loss heading into WrestleMania, abandons the contest, giving Asuka a count-out victory. In preparation for Charlotte Flair, the Empress of Tomorrow continues to do what she does best. She needs all of the preparation she can get. Charlotte is the offspring of a professional wrestling legend, and she's been carving her own legacy with win after win. Charlotte isn't like anyone Asuka's wrestled in the WWE so far. Asuka's date with Destiny arrives at the grandest stage of them all, 914 days in as an undefeated administrator of pain and defeat. Asuka now has to deal with an especially aggressive Charlotte. With her hereditary chops, she doesn't just aim at Asuka's chest, She chops the challenger right in the face. Asuka slaps a bullseye on the champion's shoulder, a strategy that worked with her greatest NXT rival, making Charlotte susceptible to Asuka's repertoire of submission holds, as well as compromising her ability to pull off the figure 8. Asuka survives the impact of Charlotte's spear, but the champ locks in the figure 8 with only one functional arm. With that, it's finally over. Asuka leaves behind one of the most impressive undefeated streaks in recent times. This marks the end of something very special, but Asuka doesn't simply fade away, she continues on as an incredible superstar. However, her star would never shine quite as bright. Her run as an undefeated wrestler will be fondly remembered, and whatever she does going forward, no one can take away what the Empress of Tomorrow accomplished. In my opinion, an absolute legend.